maybe, but I will narrow down into the Patna. So, with we know the managing solid waste would give us very good edge when you want to achieve the urban resilience. So, solid waste is a really menace in order to take care of the urban resilience, because this is the face of the any cities, and it also creates a lot of problems like the flooding occurs, then the public health crisis is there, and you know Surat is again one of the good city now, but during 1990s the Surat condition was very bad because of the solid waste mismanagement and cleaning happened, and then the administration took over the charge and then they cleaned everything. So that also became one of the challenging in order to take care of the waste management. If we can reduce, if we can manage the solid waste management well, then we can say that city is going to take care of the urban resilience in the two sense. So we'll see what are the connections there in order to take care of the waste management. And you know that we have seen that the IPCC also said that hazards, vulnerability and adaptive capacity, these three combined together is a risk. That means the city has the capacity to take care of that, the exposure and the vulnerability. So this is also very challenging in terms of the global north and global south, because global north is employing the technology in order to take care of these things. Global south does not have that capacity to take care of that. So we will see in Patna case, and then we will see some example how it is there. These are the now 3 hours there. Now people are saying 7 hours, 9 hours is also there in order to reduce the solid waste. We will see, but these are the primarily reduce, reuse and recycle. That was the primary it was started, and some of the slide I think someone has made this one. So I did not have time to add something into this one. So I took directly that slide. Segregation at source is the crux of the managing the solid waste. If any cities around the world is able to segregate at source, they are managing very well the solid waste. If any city, even though they have the technology, if they have the capacity to take care of the solid waste, but they are not able to manage the segregation at source, that city is not managing it. The decentralized system, that also depends on how community is aware of. If community is much aware, then managing the solid waste in a decentralized way would be one of the best option for the global south. Then coming to the inclusive participation, that the Professor Jerry was also mentioning, NIMBY not in my backyard. Generally, it is the experiences in our cities also. Sometime in nights you go, someone will throw the solid waste, and if you are lucky, then it will drop some other places. If you are unlucky, then it will fall down in your head also. That happens many of times. So people, what they see, they don't see even who is there, they just throw. So this is the tragedy of the common, that the paper we have seen that. This is the main case, most of the cases in the developing nation, and this plays a very crucial role, and includes data-driven decision making. Now smart cities, some of the smart cities have used this one in order to track the vehicular movement, and then how many hours that the worker is working, and whether that city is able to provide that the sufficient health protection to the person who is handling it. So there are a lot of health issues, and there are a lot of the solid waste issues are also there. Then environmental compliance, we do have the very stringent the environmental law when we are dealing with the solid waste management. But very few cities in India is adherent to that environmental law, especially the Solid Waste Management Act, which came out in 2005, and then it was amended in 7 and 9 and some. next likewise they have amended that one. So we can many of the waste pickers are from the vulnerable population. Their livelihood is dependent on the garbage, picking up the garbage from the picking up the recyclable and other material which they can sell it to the other agencies in order to earn their livelihood. So this is also rendering the different picture in the context of the global scenario. Then we will look into the Pune Swachh model and all later. Again, I will go back to this one. So we have covered the transportation, and we have seen that the scenario was very high. Then we will look into the what will be the solid waste management scenario. That reason I am showing this slide. So we will think that in future the temperature is going up, and then we have the erratic precipitation pattern. That also influences the management of solid waste. Means how well we manage and what we do. And these two already we have done. So increase in temperature and decrease in number of rainy days and increase in the intensity of the rainfall. That would create a problem when we are going to deal with the solid waste management. So on an average 1,000 tons of garbage is being generated in our cities, around 0.5 kg, from 0.5 to 0.6 kg, that is a per capita generation in our cities there. And our waste is mostly contains moisture, and that also create a problem in order to generate the energy, because if our waste contains the moisture, then it becomes difficult to generate the energy from that. If you make the pellet, it will not be moisture content does not allow it to create that generate the energy into this one. On the other part, if you look into the western cities, they have the very least content in the solid waste, so that they were able to make the pellet and make the energy out of this one. Couple of plants still in India it is working, they are generating this one, but I would say we had the failure scenario also, where in Noida and other cities earlier they started and they were not able to generate it, so that was shut down. That is the different story. And then we open dumping, and these are the couple of years back photo I have taken. I would say a little has been improved into this one. The reason I am not showing I want to render the Patna city in a bad face, rather here is the depiction of what the practices we can. So in this presentation we are also not including the biomedical waste, just solid waste management. Biomedical waste management again needs the special attention because of the hazardous in nature. That has not been included into this one. That is the different things. If you want, then we can discuss this one. So increased temperature we have experienced, and we are not managing the solid waste in a good way. What it would do, it would alter the waste decomposition rate and will lead to a greater degree of health hazards, as open dumping of waste provides a breeding ground for the spread of the diseases. So temperature would be high, then there is a likely scenario that the person, that the population will be exposed to the different types of disease. Coming to the second scenario is the increased intensity of rainfall. Again, can lead to the increased risk of ground and surface water contamination, and we have understood that. We don't want our the aquifer system should be contaminated through this one. Why it will be contaminated? Because our waste is not dumped in the landfill site, rather it is open dumping is there, and then the extreme rainfall is there, it will go somewhere and then again it will be chopped, and then that the water will seep through it, and that will create again health problem. So it's again a health issues. I will just skip this. So I mentioned the shared learning dialogue. We remember that the topic which we will discuss, the 4 topics were the in a resiliency plan. I have shown the transportation. This one is the solid waste management. Then the drainage and the sewage system was there. So with that also we will discuss. Not in today's class, in another class. So you can see that almost all of the wards representative and the stakeholder, they say there is a problem in the solid waste management in Africa. Very few were saying we could manage it because they had the very strong association, that the community association, they can handle it very easy. The other thing is also I would like to mention here, there are two things when you want to address the issues of any infrastructure. The willingness to pay, then ability to pay. I may have the money to pay for the any infrastructure management, but I am not willing to pay. So and I may not have the paying capacity to pay for the infrastructure development and the other services, but I am willing to pay because I need a better service. So that plays a very important role. So these words, the persons were willing to pay if that could be managed well. So that was the good thing came up when we were doing the shared learning dialogue. And then the adaptive capacity was that most of the people agreed that we are having the smart cities initiative, so we'll have a lot of funding available to us, so it will be easy to manage the solid waste management into this one. So vulnerability analysis also we have done for the solid waste management, that the adaptive capacity of the system was either low or medium. None of the system was very high in order to adapt to that the solid waste management. That means anything was not very reliable to manage the solid waste management. Then we found out some of the resilience interventions. So resilience intervention were two, that the infrastructural one and then the policies one. Infrastructural one was like that we can have the door-to-door collection. The person would be trained to segregate at a source. That was the main thing, because if we will not be able to segregate at source, then again it will be leading a problem, because then at a collection point we need to segregate it, and then we need to dispose it at the sanitary landfill site. The landfill site which is available in Patna is also not the sanitary landfill site. It's an open dumping ground, anybody can go and dump it. That is not a good practice again, because that would lead to the again contamination of the water. Because sanitary landfill site is engineering design which can collect the leachate from that one, and that will use for some other purposes in this one. So that our landfill is also not the good design. So these were some of the initiatives which were chalked out in the shared learning dialogue. And then there was the policy intervention. That means we must have the solid waste management plan for at a ward level, then at a 2-3 ward level, then it will be for the city level. That means 2-3 wards person will come together and they will manage it, and then it will go to the city level. There were good practices also. In the Rajendra Nagar area, there is a vermiculture plant was there, so they were able to decompose it and making vermicomposting in order to take care of the gardening and other stuff. That was a good initiative by one of the NGOs, and many of the NGOs were willing to participate in, but the kind of support they were expecting from the urban local body was not good as per their discussion. And local bodies participation was also there. Mayor also came in that shared learning dialogue, but she was only telling that everything we will do, whatever you say we will do, but person were telling is she is not able to deliver that. So there is always conflict when the governance side is there and then the residents are there. So these some of the rules were there. We will not go in that detail more. So we have seen that transportation, that the risks were very extreme. These also were very extreme, the solid waste management. We have done the 4 studies: transportation, the solid waste management, sewage and drainage. The transportation and the solid waste management were having the very high extreme risk because of the poor management into both the things. Both the things in the cities required the very good intervention. So smart smart solution, we can have the waste to energy. I told you that the incineration also leads to some kind of environmental problem, and our waste is also having the moisture content, so that needs to check into that. And then GIS and route optimization in order to if we are carrying the waste which is very harmful for the population, then we can reroute it through the less populated ward. That we can do it. Otherwise, it's not advisable if we are carrying the waste which is highly contaminated. We should take it from the other route. That optimization can be. And then IoT, and then there are a lot of systems is also involved. If you go to the different management system, there are systems you stand up and then you can show the water bottle, then automatically the recycle and the cap will open up and then you throw and then come out. And if you have the non-recyclable material, you just stand in front of that also open up and then you can put your waste, that kind of. So that kind of awareness is also there in the world, and non-awareness is also there is what is my backyard. So there are good examples like the Kote Dua in Abidjan, that the urban resilience and solid waste management, because of the frequent floods, they were able to reduce the flood risk, because when drainage is chopped with the plastics and all, then again solid waste become a very critical things, managing the urban flood and all. And most of the flood in India, I would say, either it is the runoff problem, solid waste create a problem in order to not allowing the rainfall which the city receive to pass through. So that because of that, the problem creates. Another one is the Swachh cooperative model in Pune. That is also one of the good model in order to take care of the solid waste. We went there in the Pune and they were able to manage it very well. I told you, if the waste is segregated at a source, then most of the problem is solved.
Yes.
The urban local body is very easy to manage it. But if it is not there, then it will be very problematic for us. So, key challenges in implementing resilience, resilient solid waste management, institutional gap. Our institutional capacity is not very efficient and effective in order to take care of the solid waste in a good manner. The financial constraint, that is one of the biggest challenge, because our urban local body does not have the good financial backup. Backup in the sense that they don't have, they are not able to generate their own fund. So they are relying on the state government or some other donor agency, and that creates a problem in any infrastructural management. If you are dependent on someone, either you should be smart enough that they will be able to give you the fund, or you will be able to sustain yourself in a way you can manage the waste in a very good way. Then the public awareness and participation, that needs to be worked out, because the more aware and participation is there, then solid waste does not become a problem. That the story Professor Jerry has mentioned, that the driver was asking him to give the bottle. So that kind of awareness in Indore has given a different, knowing that whether he is going to manage it or not, that is a different issue. But driver was very proactively participated in managing the waste in the Indore. That's why Indore is becoming #1 city in the cleanliness and other things. And then the social exclusion, informal workers, open land recognition and protection, that needs to be also taken care. And then the technology gap, we need to employ the technology which can help us to manage the solid waste management. But again, employing the technology needs the skilled person, then the kind of infrastructure which need to create, and then the person who will handle it. So, and most of the urban local bodies, if you look into the Patna, any cities in Bihar, they don't have the person working there to manage this. So one person is in charge of 4-5 things. So that also depends on him which sector he is focusing on. That is not the things which should be focused. So these and these are some of the examples, like the solid waste management should become a part of the development plan and all. We should have the medium term, short term, long term plan in order to take care of the solid waste management. And the finance, again, we are dependent on the state government to give us the finance. So state government, if they don't relocate some fund for the management of this thing, then again it becomes a problem. And how Patna works, the state government will give the fund, then the CEO or mayor will decide which one is the priority area. If they are disturbed in their ward in some other areas, the priority area changes. So it is not demarcated well if this much amount will go in the management of the solid waste. If that is not demarcated, then it becomes a very tedious task for the city administration to where to divert. So that also needs attention. And then the circular economy models, that the waste of one system should become a raw material for the one system. That's the entire world is now talking about, is that we should have the circular economy in order to take care of solid waste management. And the one thing I wanted to highlight here in this presentation, look, to some of the city I have been to there. When you check in the hotel or any accommodation, they will give you the first how to manage the waste. So outsider, if they come into their cities area, they came to know that these are the systems that the waste is getting managed. And in US also, I think it is not door to door pickup. You need to carry the waste and then put it in the dustbin outside there, and it is also designated when the recycle and the non-recyclable material is there. I don't know whether now they have started the number of, only earlier was the recycling one and the non-recycling one. There are three. The three, right? Then when we were there, only two were there. But if you go to Japan, the 5 types of segregation were there. So you need to put your waste in that 5 types of segregation, and they also, if somebody sees that you are putting into the wrong bin, so they will let you know, okay, oh, that you need to put into this one, because sometimes they write in the Japanese, you will not able to read it. So, but person will help you. Oh, no, you. So they are aware that city, if you throw into the different bin, it will lead a problem, lead to a different kind of problem. So that kind of awareness is also needed. So that was my presentation. I would like to just end on, because we need to move from here. It's a very critical, and managing solid waste render a very good picture. The Rwanda that the Professor Jerry was telling, it's a very poor country in Africa, but it is equivalent to the Cape Town. South Africa is a developed country in Africa. So if you take the Cape Town, is a very developed, and Kigali is developing. But most of the cleanness, if you compare, if you ask me, most of them will say Kigali is much cleaner than the Cape Town. The reason behind, I told you, that the president is very stubborn. If I have told you you have to clean, you have to clean. And there is a community service also. Within a week, one day, they come and clean the entire city, free of cost for 4 hours. So one day, the community comes and then they clean that city. So if you go to the Kigali, even though it's a very poor country, you will have the wonderful time. It's very neat and clean, better than the Cape Town. Cape Town itself is a very good city, but it's better than this one, because they gone into the different kind of system thinking. So that is the different thing we discuss this one. So that was the things which I wanted to highlight. So transportation was the extreme, and the solid waste management was in the extreme. So we have 2 more, sewage and drainage. We'll see that. And then finally we have chalked out the vulnerability map of that.
We have talked a lot about the waste in the after seeing your slide, one of the slides where plastic accumulated more. I have a question that directly export waste to the poorer countries? Or if it is that the ethical way to end up polluting the different countries, the poorer countries, which is good?
Are you going to take up? Yeah, I will take.
I will answer the question.
Yeah, after that I will also.
Yeah.
Because he has asked a very good question.
Yeah. Well, it's developed countries. They are exporting because, well, firstly, it's not ethical. Okay, developed countries should try to deal with their own waste. But on the other hand, developing countries have a choice too. They can say no. And 2018, China started saying no. So to US waste. So till 2018, most of the plastic waste, cardboard waste from US used to be shipped to China. 2018, China said we are not accepting any waste from. So it's both. A, developed countries should not be exporting. B, developing countries should not be accepting.
So partly he has answered my question, your question, and he has agreed also to. I would say, look, the climate change has changed the way that the country used to think. There is a theorem, yeah, something is called as a butterfly effect. That means if something happens in Rwanda, in Kigali, we were going to face sitting here in Patna. That means something bad is happening in our planet, so our planet is going to see that. So that has been realized very well by any developed country in this planet. We were doing the bad thing, because of that the ocean get polluted, because they wanted to put the waste dump into any of the developing nation and all. The Philippines, Indonesia, even India, and even you look into the Indonesia, the Latin America and all, they were all having the full of the waste coming from the bio-waste also. You are absolutely right. That studies are done in 2005, but still that is relevant. So now what they are doing is that the when conference of party sits, so all developing nations they speak, and the developed countries participation listen how we are going to resolve that, because that the problem they had generated, and they put the waste into that one. But now that the green fund and the adaptation fund and technology transfer, now they are trying to help them to get rid of this one, so that they can compensate the carbon footprint in order to say that we have saved this much of carbon sink into that the entire negotiation. That entire negotiation is going on, but it's not the essence of the problem going on. And someday it will come. Countries will be able to. You are not supposed to go, and you are not supposed to come. Time happened in the history of the WMO, World Meteorological Organization. First time the lady from the global south, Argentina, became the Secretary General. She won the election. She fought not because she was the politician. She fought because she thought that we are not doing anything and we are taking the blame for her. So she won. Even the developed countries supported her. Okay, you become the 135 years story. That's the only one person from the global side, that also is woman. So that is also very good thing. She has become the champion. A lot of things happening in Argentina and all. So that's a good sign. But again, still this practice is carrying on, but not openly, but indirectly it's carrying on, not openly.
Just to add to your question, I told you that China stopped accepting US plastic waste. So you know which country has taken most of the US plastic waste since then?
Yes.
Huh?
India.
Yeah.
India.
So why is India doing that?
India utilizing that waste for plastic and utilizing for the cracks of the plastic.
Okay. But shouldn't? India should say no.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. So on, you're closing the days.
So tomorrow at what time we are meeting? will it be possible to meet tomorrow 10 o'clock? Yeah, no, it will be a little difficult.
10:30
Oh, sorry. So I must say sorry, we'll meet at 10:30.
Who's the moderator presenter tomorrow?
Stuti.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll make sure, so tomorrow at 10:30 you'll come at 10 and make sure everyone comes at 10:30, right?